Hey everyone, this is Corey with Stafford's EDC, and I have a box opening from my buddy Evan for you guys. I purchased a slip joint from him. It is a custom slip joint, and I wanted to film this because I've never had anything from this maker. I know that this maker takes regular orders. He is located in Germany, I'm 99% sure. From my understanding, he's doing pretty good work. So, without further ado, the box opening knife today is this Grayson Jennings Zulu shadow pattern in stag. This is also in blued A2 steel. One of my favorite slip joints that I own. It's an absolutely phenomenal piece. Grayson does incredible work. This is the second knife from him that I have owned, and I'm on his books for one more. So that is very exciting. I don't know why I'm cutting like this. Really not a good idea. But, you know, live dangerously is what they say. Oh man, he really got this taped down in there. Just want to make sure there's no info on the box. I'm glad I checked. There's info on the other side of this. So, without exposing Evan's address, let's take a look at what we got in here. So I'm not trying to cut anything that I'm not supposed to cut. But imagine we're just looking at padding here. It's got a nice little canvas wrap here. It's almost like a hank. So this just slips through. Yeah, it's okay. It's its own little pouch. And we'll do this. All right, let's make sure we get everything out of here. So, all right, that is everything. Very cool pouch. The way this folds over and loops back through itself. Big fan. So, as you can see, this is from OW Knives, Oliver Weber. And like I said, I'm 99% sure he is based in Germany. Let me just show you the specs right here. His website is on here, as well as an email, his Instagram. So you can see it is a Lanny's clip. This is number, I believe it says 787. He's built quite a lot of knives over the last few years. This has some antique micarta with a zirconium shield. This was built in August of 2024. Has stone-washed K390 as the steel. And before I show the knife off, I'm just going to leave it in here. There is a nice set of matching beads and some leather for those if a lanyard is your jam. It is not mine, typically anyway. But without further ado, let's check this knife out. This looks super cool. This zirconium, it's probably not going to come through on camera, is almost black. Centering is just a little off. This is screwed together, so that's something that could be changed potentially, especially if there's a little blade play or something. We could fix that. This is a shadow pattern, antique micarta. Looks end cut, which is sweet. See, the back spring is relieved to give you this little lanyard post, which is really cool. No nail nick. Really nice walk and talk. Lanny's clip feels excellent in hand. This is just a great pattern. It's a Tony Bose pattern, and it just fills the hand so well. It's 4 inches closed. Typically, this one actually might be a little larger than 4 inches. The Grayson Jennings here is 4 inches, so you can use that for comparison. They are basically identical, so I'll just eat the words that I just said where it might be larger. This is really thin, hollow ground K390. That's got good walk and talk. It's not a super stiff spring on the open, which is something I normally prefer. If you can't tell, this Grayson Jennings is extremely stiff on the pull. You just hear the way that snaps. But the Weber snaps like that too. Not quite at the half stop. There's a whole discussion I've had with people where I think that knives should be extremely snappy at their half stops, and you know, some people agree, some people disagree. Most I would say agree. But see how it does that little bit of jump? I find that that happens when the tang is a little small. You can see this distance here is greater than this distance. I find that tends to make for a a tang that's just not quite as snappy. See the Jennings here, pretty short. It's about the same. Not a knock on this knife at all. The action's good. Again, that pull it's soft on the first half, and then it's got a good pull on the second. It's stiffer at this point. It's got good walk and talk. It's easy to pinch. For not having a nail nick, I'm actually really liking this. I didn't know how it was gonna feel. It kind of looks like a front flipper, but it is a slip joint, and I think this is gonna be an excellent regular carry and user. Big fan of this one. Shield is inlaid nicely. You can feel the seams and whatnot, but not concerned about that. Ooh, this does have some good blade play. Let me grab a screwdriver and let's see what we can do. We have a couple here because I don't know. These look like T6s. Oh, T8. Cool. I'm going to tighten the pivot down. Yeah, that side was really tight, really loose. Oh, that fixed the problem right there. That's much firmer at the half stop. Yeah, absolutely no problems. And I think, yes, I have some knife pivot lube heavy. If you guys want to get some knife pivot lube, I have a discount code. It is STAFF10, STAFF 10. That'll get you 10% off your order, and there will be an affiliate link in the description. Use that link, use my code, get 10% off, and I'll get a little tiny kickback. Like twice a year, I make like $20 from knife pivot lube. It's fantastic. So we'll put a little bit on the edges of the tang there. Just gonna come in from this side. Not doing much here in terms of lubrication. Just want it on those corners. It's probably actually a little bit over tightened, to be honest. Try and back it off just a hair. All right, that gave it a little bit of play. Let's try the other side. Okay, we're back to good. It's not quite as snappy, which is one thing that's irking me a little bit, because I want it to be snappier. I want it to jump shut. See, it's doing that a little late, which is what I was hoping the knife pivot lube was going to help with. These T6, they must be T6. Okay. Centering is better, so that's good to see. This could also just be a little dirty on the inside too. I'm gonna do a little bit looser. Like that's like a quarter of a thread. Not a quarter turn, like a quarter of a single thread. That's a little better. Part of slip joint knives is playing with them, getting them lubricated. I don't know if you just saw how much came out of the back of this, but these knives are not maintenance free. A lot of people might think they are because you can't typically take a slip joint apart, but especially the screw together ones you can. But also they build stuff up in them. You can see all that right there. It's coming off. That is a dirty knife, and this is no offense to Evan. It's not his fault that this knife needs a cleaning. Certainly not. Sometimes I'll actually just run isopropyl alcohol down into the knife and clean it that way. It's called flushing. You can do this with hot soapy water. You can do it with a bunch of oil for the pivot, but it is called flushing, and it usually improves the action significantly. That's a lot more jumpy than it was a minute ago. And we haven't picked up any blade play. Can you see the gunk that's accumulating right there on the side of the spring? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this position here, which is a little dangerous. You can see how different that looks from here to here, because there's oh Jesus. Sounded like I'm from New York and Texas at the same time. I want to say all this oil, but it kind of sounded like I said oil. But that's kind of where you have some buildup. So just cleaning that spring off, keeping our hands clear of the half stop area. Of course, there's going to be a little more. Yeah, you can see how much is coming out of this. I'll continue to work this, and it's going to get better and snappier and smoother every time. That's just how these knives work. So there was a little bit of an interruption there, and I'm finishing this 2 days later almost. But the Weber, the OW Lanny's clip, is pretty much all cleared up in this area here. This is an awful way of doing this. Show you how snappy this is. Really great overall, super happy with it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them down below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.